Spatchcock Funk in the house, our house, and your house too. You know where the party's at? Wherever you're at. We're gonna teach you how to throw the best parties, the best dinners, the best get-togethers. All you need are the people that you love, and we'll take care of the rest. Spatchcock Funk, dope food, strong drinks, great stories. If you want to get ahead in life, you got to take some chances. Part of glowing up and being confident in who you are means you got to be willing to bet on yourself. Put it all on the table, the felt table that is. So it's time to throw some cards around. You have to push all your chips in, and some friendly competition can help bring out the best of us, y'all. So sometimes a great cocktail, great food, and the right scoundrels around the right table might sound like whiskey business. Oops, I mean risky business, but it can turn us into kings, queens, or aces. So tonight, shuffle things up and start wheeling and dealing. Get the right people in the right game, and you got the right ingredients for a great party. So up the stakes and get your game face on, because tonight, we're playing poker, and we ain't bluffing. This is the executive game. We want to go all in on a badass cocktail with bourbon as a star. So we're going to visit a star, a friend of mine, my mentor, the great badass Laura Surway.
Wow, I don't want to be introduced like that. There's to be expectations then. Bourbon it is, baby.
What's up, baby?
Come on, let's do this.
Let's have some drinks.
What a great day to drink.
Sure is. We are making a Bourbon Boulevardier for poker night. It's going to have fig and vanilla. Start me up.
First of all, what's the date so I can get my invite? Hello. But
You're
if
too
I were
good.
you, no, whatever. If I were you, I'd do something with a little smoke.
Okay.
That's going to help build out that fig flavor and bring it to the top, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, there's so many incredible bourbons out there that have that little bit of subtle smoke or that toasted barrel char flavor. Elijah Craig is one of my favorites of toasted barrel. You got Michter's, you've got Smoke Wagon, you've got Basil Hayden. All of those have a great smoke underlying flavor to it. Just a matter of what you like.
I love it. Let's try it.
Let's do it. I'm in. Salute.
Pour it up. If you want to win big, you got to make a big cocktail. And when we're playing poker, sometimes we enjoy a fine cigar, but if we're playing indoors, that might not be doable. So we're making a cocktail that mimics the finer points and the finer things in life. This is the Bourbon Boulevardier. Now, the original Boulevardier is made with whiskey, but we're turning this thing all the way up. It was made by this guy, Harry, who opened the famous Harry's New York bar in Paris, where they live the high life. He even had a magazine talking about celebrating the high life. So when we're riding a hot hand, we want to have a high bet, and we want to make a drink that's going to get us a little high. Plus, people will bet more on strong drinks. So we've got our awesome, awesome bourbon from our homegirl, Laura, and we want to infuse it and make it a little bit funky in a way that's going to give a smooth flavor. So we've got about 8 dried figs. So we're going to put those into like a mason jar. Then we're going to add in our bourbon. Now we've got our dried figs. We're going to take an old school muddler and we're going to break them apart. And what's going to happen is the essence of these figs, a little bit of sweetness, is going to go into all that smoky, good bourbon. So we're really getting the cigar effect in here. So break them up good. So keep twisting it and break them apart a little bit. You'll see some seeds start to float, and that's totally cool. Now you're going to seal it on up. You know, shake it up. So you're going to let this sit for 3 to 5 days. We usually go 3. And every day or so, shake it up a little bit. After 3 days, it's going to seem a little cloudy. We've strained it, but now it's got that beautiful smell. So we're going to take a shaker filled with ice and put about 1.5 ounces of this bourbon in there. Maybe 2 ounces. We're feeling frisky, which we always are. Then 1 ounce of Campari, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth. And then to get more of that cool cigar effect, we're going to put a splash of pure vanilla extract. And then, like a Polaroid, like Tay-Tay, give it a good shake. When enjoying a great bourbon or something you want to really savor and enjoy, use a big ice cube, right? They come in squares or circles. We like the square one. And put that in your glass. What it's gonna do is it's gonna melt much slower, there's more surface area, and keep the drink chilled. Plus, it looks pretty dope. Finally, the last touch, we garnish this with a little orange twist. And now, time to play some bets, baby. Feeling good at the table. Yo, so let's get to the nuts and bolts of things right now. When you're playing cards, you're drinking, you want to have something salty on the table so people can have a couple bites of this and that, and all of a sudden they want another drink, they're drinking more, they're betting more, you're taking more control. So we want to take control of these awesome nuts here. These are nuts and bolts. They're sweet and salty, and they won't be sticky on your hands. You can have them on the felt table and not get stuck all around. So, time to get nuts. We want 1 cup of shelled pecans. And you might think I'm being fancy, but here's the deal. This is a pecan, not a pecan. And I learned this. I was in New Orleans taking a cooking class from this woman, Dina. She's teaching me some stuff. And I'm like, is it pronounced pecans or pecans? And she goes, boy, it's a pecan, because a pecan is what you keep under your bed at night. So, pecans it is. We have a cup of walnuts that we just picked off of the wall. 1 cup of raw cashews, because we like it in the raw, plus cashews, when they roast, get this awesome smell in your house. 1 cup of raw almonds. Now we're gonna mix this with our dry spices and ingredients right off the bat. You might think, why not put some liquid in there? The reason why is nuts are naturally a little oily, so they're gonna adhere a little bit as we stir them up. So first, we have a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of granulated garlic, 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, and 1/2 tablespoon of salt. We want this to be sweet and salty, so you're gonna see a lot of salt in here because the sweet's gonna be pretty overpowering. So stir that up and mix it evenly. You know we're mixing things up, so after we mixed it right, we're gonna go to the stove. Add 1/2 cup of melted butter, 1/2 cup of water, and 1/2 cup of sugar over medium heat, and keep stirring until the sugar dissolves. Once that sugar's dissolved, we're gonna take our mixture, we're gonna pour it all over the nuts, get them nice and coated, and then stir them. And this is gonna get all that flavor together, all the spices, the sweetie saltiness. Because you know what? We like a sweetie who's a little salty sometimes. Now that they're mixed, we're gonna take a cookie sheet, line it with foil, then hit it hard with some cooking spray. Preheat your oven at 350 degrees. Spread them all, get all of the stuff you can out of the bowl, and then spread them evenly across. And we're gonna start for 10 minutes, and halfway through, we're gonna go in and flip them around a little bit. And if it's not crispy enough to your liking, put it back in for 2 minutes at a time and see how you do. Ooh, jackpot. Look at these nuts. They've been in there for about 15 minutes. We put in an extra 2 minutes to let them crisp up, and they are ready to go. You can bet on this. For the executive game, we want to pull out all the stops and make something that makes people feel like they're being treated like royalty. Particularly if you're going to spend some money and maybe lose some, you want to make sure that the experience was worth that price of admission. So one of our things we're serving today is one of my favorite things in the world. These are Speakeasy duck wings. Speakeasy because they're named after a place of ill repute. And we're playing cards in the Speakeasy itself. So we kind of get down like that. The House of the Rising Sun, where we're getting down, you're going to get down with this because duck wings are fantastic to work with. They are a little bit bigger and longer than chicken wings, and that's because ducks actually use their wings to fly. So they're fatty, and they've got a little bit more muscle content, but the skin crisps up beautifully. So we've got our duck wings. We're gonna take a bowl, and we're gonna just put them in. And then take a little bit of granulated garlic, toss them in it so they get coated. We're gonna set them aside and keep letting them get to room temperature because we're gonna fry them up. But first we're gonna make our sauce. We've melted a 1/4 cup of butter. And what we're gonna make is a garlic Cajun wing sauce. So we're gonna put in 2 cloves of crushed fresh garlic, and we're gonna heat that in the melted butter until it gets fragrant and you can smell it. So we're gonna add in a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a 1/4 cup of a good hot sauce, a 1/4 cup of honey. That's what's up, honey. Now over medium heat, we're gonna add a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, give a little tang and a little bite, and then 1 tablespoon of Cajun seasoning. And we're gonna keep stirring this so it bubbles on the side, but we don't wanna bring it to a boil, so keep stirring it until it starts to thicken up. Now we've got our sauce smelling right, but we gotta make it look tight. So it's thickening up, but we wanna make it thicker. So here's a trick to make any good sauce thicker. We make a slurry. So a slurry is equal part cornstarch. We've got 2 tablespoons about of cornstarch here and 2 tablespoons of water. So we're gonna mix that evenly. We're gonna add that slowly into our sauce and stir it, and this should thicken things up just how we want it. This prevents clumpage and starts to thicken up without distracting from the flavor. You can tell I've been thickened up with a few slurries in my life, so let's slurry it in here. Stir it in over the heat. And thicken up. Perfect. We got this oil hot, 350. We're gonna drop in our wings for 5 to 7 minutes so they're golden brown. We're gonna stir them around a little bit so they don't stick together. Look at these golden brown beauties. We're gonna put them in a big mixing bowl. I'm gonna take some of the sauce. We don't wanna over sauce it. So we're gonna do about a scoop, maybe 2 scoops at a time, and just ring them up, get them all coated in this goodness, and keep adding sauce until they're all covered, but you don't wanna have them too saucy. Ooh, crispy, crunchy, fatty, garlicky, Cajun-y. We top them with a little green onion because we love the color, adds a little cool flavor to it too, and you get one of those in the bites. And we serve these beauties just like regular chicken wings with blue cheese, never ranch, and some celery too. We dealt ourselves a good hand right here, so just make sure everything's good and safe. We're gonna take one of these guys, and we like using the celery as a brush. A little blue cheese on this thing. That's a duck wing right there. You want some more pointers to make the executive game great? We are making 10 pointer cigars. Now we named them because they look like cigars, but these are actually braised venison taquitos, and they are fantastic. Sometimes in life, you're dealt a tough hand, but if you play it right, it can work out beautifully. The same thing with venison. It's a beautiful lean meat, but if you don't cook it right, it toughens up on you. So we're gonna make sure it's beautiful and tender by braising it. And venison's one of those things that good old boys, good old girls out hunting, shooting it, or in France, fancy people are cooking it. It's a great way to go. So we're gonna braise it. First, we've got a cup of flour mixed with a tablespoon of black pepper and salt mixed together and just kind of stirred up with some garlic powder. And we're just gonna cover this, so when we braise it first, we're gonna brown each edge. So just gonna take 1 pound of a venison roast, chop it up into 5 or 6 pieces, and bread it up like this, flour it up. So what you wanna do too is if you can't get venison, don't have any friends that shot one, like our buddy Rick that shot this deer, you can just use beef chuck roast, works just as well. Now, it's time to braise things up, braise the roof. So we're gonna start by making our braising liquid. We're gonna add in 1.5 cups of a good red wine. We're using Cabernet here, and always cook with what you drink. Always use good stuff. Next, we're gonna add in 4 cloves of crushed fresh garlic. Then we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of chopped oregano and 1 tablespoon of chopped fresh thyme. Stir it up over medium heat and let it cook for about 10 minutes till it reduces in half. We're gonna take half of our olive oil, which is about a tablespoon, into a cast iron skillet and heat it up over medium heat. It's time to brown the meat. While our olive oil is heating up, this is looking great. So I'm gonna cover it, let it simmer. Now we're gonna brown up this venison. These brown on each side. So we're browned, and the brown just helps it cook a little faster in the braising. So we're gonna protect it, take it off of the heat and set it aside for a second. And we like that we've got all this little brown bits of meat stuck in there. That's dope. So we're gonna add another tablespoon of olive oil. We're gonna throw some veggies in. So we're gonna put in 1 diced stalk of celery and half of a sweet onion. Yo, because the kids' game is sweet. That's how it's gonna be at the table at the game too. We're gonna coat this in the olive oil and get this cooked till the onions are translucent. Ooh, you can smell that. We're gonna take all these veggies and add it to our Cabernet mixture with the garlic that's been cooked down. We're gonna add in 1 cup of beef stock into this and make a little bath. Stir that up. We're gonna add in about half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. Finally, we're gonna add in our beautiful chunks of venison into our little Dutch oven. We're gonna put this in the oven at 350 for about 2 hours. These taquitos are gonna be crispy and hot and juicy and flavorful. So we're gonna have something cool as a sauce to dip it into. So we're making an avocado cream sauce. We've got 2 chopped up fresh avocados. And by the way, avocados, you're afraid they're gonna go brown. When you mix them in with some cream, they'll stay in the fridge for a little bit, so you'll be okay. But if you ever wanna keep guacamole or things that are made with avocados from going brown, store it with the nut from the avocado. So we're gonna put our avocados into a blender. Then we've got 1 cup of sour cream. You can use yogurt too, but we're just getting after it today. We've got 2 cloves of fresh garlic that's been crushed, a dash of salt and pepper, the juice of 2 fresh limes, so about 1.5 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. A couple dashes of hot sauce, a nice mild green hot sauce, and now, time to whip things up. We've got our sauce done. Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, nice and creamy, fresh, bright, both in color and taste. A little velvety to go with that crunch. Ooh, yeah. Oh, baby, look at this. Braised venison, it smells fantastic. Now it's time to shred. You can shred on a skateboard, you can shred on skis, you can shred on a bike, but we are shredding with actual shredders. Now, these shredders are useful for a couple reasons. For shredding up braised beef, pulled pork, all these things, or if some Ninja Turtles show up in your kitchen, you got them with some shredders. So, let's shred. Yeah, this might be the most fun part. Oh, look at this, shredded into this awesome goodness like we shred in a guitar. So we're gonna take this meat and we're just gonna put it in with 8 ounces of a sharp yellow cheddar cheese. Time to start rolling, like we're rolling the bones on the table. We are gonna roll up some taquitos. So we are using corn. We like the yellow color of it gets crunchier, and these are the ways to go. But the problem when you're rolling it is they can break as you roll it. So what we've done is you take about 4 or 5 at a time, wrap them in a damp paper towel, and then microwave them for 10 seconds. They're gonna be more pliable and allow us to get a tighter roll on them. We've got our oil heating up to 350, and the oven is at 400 degrees. We're gonna take a glass dish, we're gonna set it down, you're gonna lay it out, get in front of you, about half a tablespoon to 3/4 of a tablespoon of our filling in the center of it, and then take one edge and then tightly roll it. Now we've laid them with the seam down so they won't open because we're gonna put them in the oven for 5 minutes at 400 degrees and then they're gonna be ready to fry. We got that oil at 350. Now we're gonna drop them in one at a time for 3 to 5 minutes till they brown up. Look at these beautiful 10-pointer cigars, taquitos, hit with some cilantro. We got our sauce. Let's see how we do. When you dip, I dip, we dip. Crunchy, cheesy, brazy. Let's have taquitos. All right, so a buddy of mine was playing at a high stakes tournament at a casino, and there was a guy at the table who was kind of cleaning up, but he had been getting in the cups a little bit, which is known to happen at a casino. So at one point, you can tell that the pit bosses and the powers that be are kind of like interested in this man. And which is a shame, because usually if you're winning, and that might be the problem if you're drinking, the casino loves it. So they come over, and they're like, hey, how you doing? And the pit boss is looking at him, and he's like, I'm fine, how are you? I'll take another drink. And the pit boss is like, well, I'm not
He's like,
getting
not a
drinks.
bartender.
Yeah. I'm not a bartender, but
It's a bad start.
It's a great way to really, that's when the cop pulls you over, like ask him for a drink, like what are you doing? So he says, sir, I'm gonna ask you, can you say the alphabet starting with M? And he looks him dead in the eye and says, Malphabet.
Technically answered correctly.
He did, right?
He was on the money.
I had a friend of mine, actually, we were in a casino and having a good time, and my man got on a heater, and we're talking about playing cards every time he's getting money. At one point, we're at a blackjack table, and this dude is like hitting on 16s. He's jumping into hands he shouldn't be. There are people just so mad because he's taking all these cards. And at one point, he recognizes it, so he gets 2 10s. He's splitting 10s. He's splitting kings. Like, he's doing all these things, and he just can't lose. Like, he's doubling down.
Where do you fit in this mix?
I was on both sides.
I don't know this guy.
I was jealous about how much money he was winning.
Yeah,
I was
like,
with
I
him,
don't
so I was
know
like,
this guy.
hey, good job, buddy. So at one point, he looks up at the camera and he's like, I have all your money. And everybody's like, like half of the crowd is watching him and loving him because he's like this wild cowboy. The other half is disgusted and they're there to watch him burn.
How'd the table feel about that comment?
Yeah, that was bold.
It was super bold.
Especially if they're losing money.
I thought it was great.
He
They
has
did
all their
not,
money, yeah.
because it was their money basically too,
Yeah.
you know. And he's taking their cards. So as the night went on, the house always wins. You know what I mean? You got to know when to hold them and when to bounce. And my man held them a little bit too long. But that happens to all of us. You know what I mean?
Did he finally have like the walk of shame out of that casino, where everybody's like booing him and?
Yeah, kind of. It was kind of a walk of shame, but kind of like, I don't care if I win or not. Like, I'm here. I'm like, you don't care, dude? Because you
How
just
bad
mortgage
did
your
he lose
house.
out?
You know what I mean?
How bad did it lose out?
I don't know. Like, he didn't have to trade in any cards or anything, but he did have to name his second child after the casino, so that's kind of weird.
So what was the kid's name gonna be?
Horseshoe, Ohio Casino.
Perfect.
Great kid, though. Great kid. Turned out great.
Not made fun of at all.
No,
Gambling
no,
problems.
totally. I think they call him Horsey or something like that. All right, you know, let's deal another hand here. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. You win some, you lose some, but usually you pick something up along the way. So maybe you drop a few bucks here and there, but that's the price for some great laughs and a grand old time. So whether you're playing with a draw or you got a handful of nothing, sometimes it's not what's in your hand, it's how you play it that really matters. So if you want to win big, you got to take a risk. Play the odds and bet on yourself. Grab some cards, deal out some great food, and make a stiff drink. Then find some stiff competition. You can be rolling the bones, throwing dominoes, or slinging cards. You just got to be in it to win it, y'all. So up the ante, and who knows where the world's going to take you. Yo, the party's bumping, and I'm feeling lucky, so here's to you.
This'll be the good life. This is what we live for. If you ain't showing love every day, then really what you here for? This'll be the good life. This is what we live for. If you ain't showing love every day, then really what you here for?